Hi everyone, this is Emily and I'm a digital transformation consultant with Hyperbots. And I'm really pleased to have Dave Sackett on the call with me, who is the VP of Finance at Persimmon Technologies. So thank you so much for joining us today, Dave.
Yeah, thanks, Emily.
So, Dave, the topic we'd be discussing is Deltek Costpoint, GL coding, compliance, and the role of AI tools. So, to kick things off, the first thing that I'd want to ask you is can you explain the GL coding scheme used in Deltek Costpoint and how exactly it is structured to support businesses in high compliance industries, let's say government contracting, aerospace, defense, and nonprofits?
Sure. Yeah, the GL coding scheme in Deltek Costpoint, it's structured to support complex accounting through multiple segments, including you've got account, organization, project costs, cost pools, cost elements. For example, the account segment, that can capture the nature of the transaction, whether it's an expense, an asset, the revenue, where it is on the GL. And there's a project segment that can help track your revenue spending and your costing, which is very critical in government reporting, where a lot of those contracts are cost plus. So you need to have good records for auditing. You should be able to calculate indirect rates, needed for government contract requirements like FAR and DCAA guidelines.
Understood. So, Dave, what are some common errors or mistakes that organizations make when applying the GL coding scheme in cost point, and what impact can these mistakes really have?
Yeah, there are common errors, including incorrect segment coding, trying to get too detailed in your GL, misclassifying transactions under wrong projects, wrong organizations, having different people interpret your accounts in a different way so that you've got a mix of where your costs really land. You kind of want to all capture them in the same spot. Tracking labor expense, maybe it's coded against direct costs instead of indirect. So basically, really locking down your system so that only direct can add to direct labor, only indirect can add to indirect labor. So you can put controls in to make sure that your data is consistent with data entry. And you definitely don't want to clutter the chart of accounts with too much granularity that will
Hmm.
complicate financial reporting and be more open to these kind of mistakes.
Understood. Also, Dave, how does cost points coding scheme specifically benefit organizations operating in the different sectors that I just mentioned, like government, aerospace, defense, and nonprofit sectors? If you can provide some examples, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll take defense as an example. Um, CostPoint's coding scheme, it's designed to handle detailed project accounting and cost allocations that's required. So for instance, CostPoint can help track down to the project level and manage multiple cost pools for calculating indirect rates. It can support rigorous compliance requirements and segregating direct and indirect costs. It helps with grant-based funding and by
Mhm.
tracking costs against restricted funds and producing reports for regulatory agencies.
Understood. Also, Dave, what features in cost point help organizations achieve higher compliance, especially, regarding regulatory standards like FAR or DCAA that you just mentioned?
Okay, yeah, one example is automated compliance checks, which validates cost allocations and can ensure adherence to government regulations. There's audit trails and documentation, which is another critical feature that allows transactions to be traced back to their source documents, which are critical for the audits that are going to be required. Also, time and expense tracking. Having it all in cost point makes, you're not using multiple systems. You're doing it all in one system, and you can get accurate labor costing, which is required for the Service Contract Act, SCA. And CostPoint also provides indirect rate management to calculate and manage indirect costs in line with FAR and DCAA standards, which is vital for government contractors, especially defense contractors.
Got it. So Dave, can you describe some specific compliance benefits of using cost point for an organization working on, let's say, federal contracts?
Sure. Yeah. For an organization working on federal contracts, CostPoint's compliance features ensure adherence to strict government regulations. So, one example is automated compliance checks that I talked about. It can flag improper cost allocations before they become an issue in an audit. It can track the segregation of duties and have evidence that prevents a single user from controlling multiple transaction phases, minimizing audit fraud and risk that could be picked up in an audit. Additionally, Costpoint's capabilities to generate required reports, such as incurred cost submissions, help demonstrate compliance with FAR and DCAA requirements, reducing the risk of penalties and disallowed costs.
How can external AI tools enhance the integrity and functionality of the GL coding scheme in CostPoint?
Yeah, great question. Uh, External AI tools provide several enhancements, such as data validation and error detection, and to automate and review data entries and flag inconsistencies or errors in real time. These create anomalies that AI can set aside and through predictive analytics can help identify these unusual transactions from typical patterns, which is crucial for compliance.
So, diving deeper into AI, Dave, can you give examples of how AI tools have been effectively used to maintain the integrity of CostPoint's chart of accounts?
Yes, AI tools have been used to automate reconciliations between different account segments, comparing entities with projects and organization codes to identify mismatches or potential errors. It can flag the users for inconsistencies in the data. And they also support continuous learning by adapting to new compliance rules, ensuring that CostPoint's chart of accounts remains up to date with the latest standards. For example, AI tools can detect if certain cost categories are consistently misclassified and prompt. So, for example, if an AI system is doing something and it's detected as an anomaly, and then it knows, well, it went from this account, got reclassed over to that account, that AI bot can learn and be taught to say, okay, yeah, the reason why it's being changed is for this. So when you see that, now do this. So it's very trainable in terms of making sure that not only does it alert you to problems, but it can then help prevent problems in the future.
Got it. And just to summarize the discussion that we are having, Dave, what future opportunities do you see for the integration of AI tools with CostPoint to further enhance compliance and financial accuracy?
Yeah, this is the part I like the best. Future opportunities include deeper integration of machine learning algorithms or rules to predict compliance risks based on historical data patterns and to suggest corrective actions proactively. And you've got forecasting that AI will be able to do. And AI can facilitate real-time audits by continuously monitoring transactions against regulatory requirements, reducing the need for manual audits. So as you're doing transactions, AI can almost be that auditor for you, saying, hey, yep, everything's in compliance, everything's in compliance. Wait a second, this one looks odd, and alert the user that they could be out of compliance. So it's having that assistance, and especially where you've got AI natural language processing, you'll have almost like a chat bot helping you as an assistant in the future to help translate complex regulations, um, which you can turn into action directly within CostPoint, ensuring that all financial operations align with compliance standards.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Dave, for sharing your insights on Deltek CostPoint's GL coding, compliance capabilities, and the role of AI tools in enhancing these processes. Your expertise provides valuable guidance for organizations aiming to optimize their financial operations while, maintaining strict regulatory compliance. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Emily.